So Lindelwa, thank you very much for making time to share your insights into the future of leadership. But before we go into the future, can you give us a little bit about your own background?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Nick. I absolutely admire the work that you're doing. My name is Lindelwa Skenjana. I was born in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban to be specific. We then moved to Pretoria when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So I was raised in Pretoria. And interesting times. I mean, a young democratic South Africa at the time. So I did all of my schooling in Pretoria and then studied in Cape Town as well, and then later in the UK.
So what was your dream career when you grew up?
It's always such an interesting one because my mom's in the health profession. Growing up, I always wanted to help people. So it was never specific. It wasn't clear whether I was going to be a doctor or a lawyer but I've always known since I was a child I need to be involved in something that helps people. And the way it's come to light now is quite interesting.
And who inspired you in those early days?
My mother. A single parent raising me and my siblings, put in her everything, coming from a very simple background, but ensuring that her kids get the best of the best no matter what. For me, that resilience and perseverance is incredible.
Now, you studied 3 fields, I believe.
I did, which was highly contested
Unusual.
in my family. So an undergrad in social sciences, an honors degree in marketing and branding, and a postgraduate in ICT and development. So my brothers and I actually have a joke. So my eldest brother is in agriculture, my second brother is a pilot, and then so we like saying the one takes care of the sky, I look after the people, and the one looks after the field and the ground. So yeah.
So that's a very interesting combination.
It is.
And I believe you started your career at MTN.
I did. So straight after completing my undergraduate degree at UCT, I got into the MTN Graduate Development Program. And what was fantastic about that opportunity is you got to rotate. So I moved from the organizational development business unit to the marketing, brand, comms and media planning. And from there, I ended up in the B2B space, which is where I got introduced to deeper technology and infrastructure and the app world and the Internet of Things 10 years ago.
Right.
Yes.
And I believe you did something special around 2010, the World Cup.
Absolutely. Being a part of the media, brand and communications team during that time as a 21-year-old was mind-blowing for me. Having the then CEO, Phuthuma Nhleko, walking from his group office, coming to our floor to question some of the things we were doing or give input to it was incredible.
Now, you were recently awarded the Top 200 Mail and Guardian.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what influenced that award?
Sure. It was based on the time, so before the role I'm in now at Old Mutual, I was head of marketing and stakeholder relations at Masisizane. Masisizane provides development financing to SMMEs. And Masisizane Fund hadn't had digital presence. So I kickstarted and facilitated that process. So creating an engaging website, but also social media presence, again, needed to be reachable, right? It's all about not being the best kept secret, but being out there for people to discover you.
And looking back over your career, would you say there was a major turning point where things could have gone different, but you decided to take your career in a certain direction?
So I'm a highly intuitive person, and I firmly believe in you're where God or the universe wants you to be. The only turning point or things that I find difficult is when you get when the growing is painful, right? So growth isn't always a pleasant thing. Some people don't come smiling and say, hi, I'm going to teach you something that's going to change your life. So throughout my career span, the growth moments that are painful are what spurts. They always spurt the next.
Now, today you are in charge of digital at Old Mutual. Can you give us a little bit of the highlights? What is it that you are directing?
Sure. So I'm only in charge of the digital adoption portfolio, which is essentially digital acquisitions. And it's an interesting space again. So I consider myself a connector. I never find myself in career roles where I'm having to do things independently. So with the digital adoption role, I'm at the center of the product developers and our customers. So taking the highly sophisticated platforms that they're building that are meant to solve for customers' needs, and using marketing and change management techniques, then communicating that to our customers. But you don't just communicate as well. You continuously need to be soliciting feedback. So it's a multidisciplinary function. There's a bit of marketing, there's change management, and a huge communication component. So it's a fascinating time. And the approach we've taken is to go through and educate and create awareness internally before going out to the market.
So what is driving you today?
There's so much to be done. So I enjoy, some history theory as well, to understand where we come from as a people, as humanity as a whole, but also as an African people, and just understanding what role we need to play to improve on society. There's just a lot to be done. We cannot sit and rest on our laurels and wait for someone else to sort it out.
Now, talking about leadership, what does the future of leadership mean to you?
The future of leadership to me, so there's a quote that I like that says, lead with humility in times of uncertainty, right? So you have to be relevant and engaged, right? And have your fingers on the pulse of what's happening in society, or else who are you leading?
So what have you learned from your own journey that you consider most important for building future leaders?
Staying grounded and being true. Authenticity is such a core and a critical thing to whatever leaders do. So when I look at some of the leaders I admire, so I mean, the first time I watched and saw Obama in 2008, right, or his wife, Michelle Obama, or Oprah Winfrey, just the authenticity. Right, so be true to who you are, why you were brought onto this planet, because that's your gift, and then take it from there. And people will naturally follow you, similar to how they did with Nelson Mandela.
Right. Now, when it comes to social media, what is your advice for future leaders? How should they go about navigating social media to build their own brand?
I think you're a perfect example, Dr. Nick.
Thank you.
I think when it comes to social media, you have to be conscious and you have to be responsible. We are in the digital age and the knowledge age. And I would assume everyone wants to be a part of something that's progressive and constructive. What is the use of contributing to things that are not going to build, your immediate community of whoever's following you? So just use it responsibly. Be very conscious about what you're putting out there.
So when you speak to aspiring leaders, what is it you tell them about the biggest challenges that they might encounter in their careers?
You have to be consistently open to learning. So something that I was taught earlier as well is always have your end in mind, right? So where you're going and who you are and your vision always needs to be crystal clear. Because regardless of what happens in the path, if you believe whatever you're going through is a part of your end, then you won't be deterred. So always have your end in mind and be open to learning.
Now, if you were to design a curriculum for future leaders, what are the new skills you would want to factor in?
What are the new?
The new skills.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. The ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn, right? So don't be fixated on one set of a thing. We're getting to a time and a space where it is about multidiscipline and hybrid sort of knowledge sets and not the purest sort of knowledge system that we come from. So just the openness, to be adaptable and malleable to mixed types of knowledge.
Now, as a mentor to future leaders, can you maybe share a success story or two where you mentored somebody and that person took your advice to heart?
Sure. I mentored quite a few ladies, and interestingly, the ladies so it's currently 4 young ladies that I am mentoring. It's always about, and this is how I felt as well, it's always around feeling lost. Feeling like they want too many things and just streamlining that thinking. And I realized the important things with mentoring and being mentored is affirming someone's dream. So listening becomes really critical as a mentor, because then you're able to advise, from a sound place. So that's been the key thing, is just helping people streamline their thoughts, because oftentimes they aren't wrong, right? They just need to organize and turn the chaos down and focus. So it's about crystallizing that vision. But if it's within you, it's because you can become, right? Yeah.
Now, Are there any role models of leadership that you would recommend future leaders should study and maybe learn from?
Yeah. So the approach I've taken is to, again, have multidisciplinary mentors. So some of my mentors include Ralph Mupita, who's the CFO at MTN, Punzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, who's currently the ED at UN Women, Mandla Msimang, who used to run her own consultancy called Pigma Consulting, Alistair Mokwena, who's currently the CEO of Ogilvy.
Right.
So I just believe in having, and Zizi Ponyanga, who's the CEO of Masisizane Fund. And these are completely different people, but what you get from them is, you get what I'm saying, makes the experience even richer. So those are the people I'd say, people should look out for.
So how can our listeners connect with you, and where should they follow you?
So currently I'm only on LinkedIn. So they can follow me on LinkedIn. It's my name and surname on LinkedIn, Lindelwa Skenjana. I'm currently trying to work on a centralized repository of my thoughts and knowledge and experiences, but that is a work in progress.
So is that a website, or how are you intending to publish?
Yeah, possibly a blog. Yeah.
A blog.
Possibly a blog. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, last but not least, is there one piece of advice that you would really like to convey to future leaders that they should implement in their own lives?
I would really encourage future leaders to take time in finding what their purpose is, because when you are centered and grounded in who you are and who you're meant to be and what you're meant to bring into the world, then things feel less difficult. And it's not that you're not going to encounter difficulty, but things will start making sense. And I know it sounds ethereal and very The Secret-y, but it is. Just spend some time in discovering who you are and what you're meant to bring to this world. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing your insights and your wisdom into the future and showing us a way.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for the time. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dr. Nick.